Well, shoot, dude, I guess it's time to talk about the apparent elephant in the room. By which I mean this, dude. Been there my whole life. It's like a birthmark. It looks bigger now and like worse now because about 12 years ago, my ex decided in his oh so awesome, he was so smart, you see. He decided that it looked like a pimple and he was gonna try and pop it. And so like it bled and bled and bled. Bled a little bit more. Did not stop for entirely too long. Finally did, and I swore up and down every time he would like even put his fingers near my forehead, I would just like flinch and I'd be like, "You touch it? No, don't touch it." And since then, you know, the reality is I have been bullied over this since I was like 10 years old. Weirdly, the insults have gotten less creative over the years. Now, every time I post a video on TikTok, at least 4 or 5 comments that I just delete and block, they all mention that I just must love, you know, that one drug just so much. Reality check. I have never done anything harder than weed. Okay, there was that 4 times I took MDMA back in my club days, but I was told you were like brain dead or something if you took it 5 times or more in your lifetime. So I didn't want to risk it because like I don't want to be brain dead. But I guess it's okay for some people because the only thing out of their minds is just meth, and a little bit more meth while we're at it. I actually think that this might be where some of my earliest hyperfixations on scrapbooking may have come from. Is really, really big on cutting out the right angles, you know, just so that this guy got as little publicity as possible. Oh my goodness, when digital photos came along and you could like edit a little bit, I was in heaven. Even better, the Instagram filters. Yeah. Sure, through the years, I've had other things. You know, I've had breakouts that I've wanted to cover and things like that. But really, it's just been all about covering that one little spot. I've used makeup after makeup after makeup. I've gotten bottles that are like just a color enough to like cover that and then put a different color foundation on top of it. Spent a lot of my teen years working on just covering that one spot on my face, figuring out my perfect angle. And like, you know, any breakouts on like this side of my face, they just had to take the hit. They had to be shown because can't be showing that, because it looks like, I don't know what people think of back in the day when meth wasn't such a big thing in this country. I don't know what their thought was, but even my mother, she's always been like, you should cover that thing up. Like I hadn't tried. Now, that's absolutely not to say I haven't had other things that I've been self-conscious about through the years. When I was little, I was chubby. I like food. And, you know, when I was younger, I did like enough sports and cheerleading and all of the things that, like, I burned all the calories that I intook. And in my adult life, that kind of ceased to happen because I got busy, didn't really have time to, like, work out or shoot the hoops anymore. Yeah, I said that. Didn't mean I stopped liking food. I've done diets, I've been on Weight Watchers, I've done all the things to like not be a fat person in America. And after getting to my goal weight, I can confidently say that the way people treat you is not worth the fact that you're starving all the time. So whatever, I'm fat, big deal. Somehow I made my peace with that one in my 30s when I was like really sick and, you know, just like, oh, life was a mess. But not this guy. Babe's never that guy. Then, one day when I was in my 20s, I hadn't seen my mom for a couple of years, made the trip to go see her and her boyfriend. Her life had been lifing for a few years, and I don't know, I guess she forgot about that, like, massive thing that was on my face. And it was the instigation for her asking me if I was on drugs. No, Mommy, I'm the hippie you taught me to be. Just weed, please. Since that happened, my efforts were redoubled. More trying to hide the thing. Keeping CoverGirl in business. And I mean, I've been a very online girly, and I often post impulsive things without really taking the time to edit. So there have been plenty of things through the years that have slipped through the cracks. Most people have been human enough and have decent enough, you know, tact to not really ask about it because everybody's got little body quirks? We're not just running around picking apart every single thing that's wrong with someone's body, right? I've never acted like I'm on drugs, except for, maybe the gabapentin that I take pharmaceutically. That gave me some pretty significant brain fog. Anything over 1,000 milligrams actually is, whoa, it's like you're living in clouds. Stay away from nerve damage, kiddos. So I was in different parts of the country, and my mom was in Arkansas. Didn't really see her like a lot, and anytime I sent her a picture, yeah, it was edited for reasons. I just didn't want to have a conversation with her about something that wasn't a thing, and so I didn't. But then I moved to Arkansas a couple of years ago, and I swear to you, she was a woman obsessed. She was spending enough time around me that she didn't even question that it was drugs anymore. But she was like, oh my gosh, we need to get you to a dermatologist because that might be cancer. And cancer runs in our family. It runs deep. I'm aware. It's been there my entire life. The only time it's gotten bigger is when someone did this stupid thing with it. But fine. Dermatologist, poor thing, she had just broken her ankle, and so she came rolling in like Shane Topp did when he broke his ankle on that little wheelie thing. And she explained to me it was called a venous lake, and the reason why it bled so much that one time was because of it being like on the forehead. There are a lot of veins in that area, and it's just like opening up a spout. And she said that she could remove it, but removing it would leave me with like a really big and really obvious scar, like way bigger than that. And I just said, screw it. But I was at least finally armed with an answer to what it was, and anybody who wanted to accuse me of doing any type of illicit substance because of some stupid thing on my face, they didn't get to do that anymore. Along the way, I started caring less about like it being, obvious on my face, and just tried to make it less obvious, like that little red patch underneath. And, I would use a little bit of foundation to cover that, and just like, I was trying to make it less obvious. But if I had the opportunity to edit it out of the picture, I would. But, I didn't make it a priority. It wasn't a thing that was like constantly on my mind anymore. Recently, I've started posting TikToks more often just because, honestly, I miss Twitter and Blue Sky. I don't know. It's just, it's not giving me the dopamine hit I need anymore, but TikTok is kind of doing that. Except for the fact that every single video I post comes with like at least a half dozen comments that, that I'm deleting about this thing. Could I use an AI filter? Sure, but honestly, I have ethical issues with AI. So that's not gonna be happening. Could I make it less obvious by putting a dab foundation over that area every single time I want to film a TikTok? I mean, why not? Because I don't want to, that's why. And also, since I've stopped applying foundation with any sense of regularity, my skin has stopped breaking out so much. I really only have like stress breakouts. It's fucking awesome. But also, I just don't wanna. I am 30 or 40 years old, and I do not need this. Human beings are born with quote-unquote weird things on their body from time to time. And in fact, it's probably a pretty common occurrence that everybody has some sort of mark on their body that they've had, their entire life. I'm a very freckly person. I was always really freckly, but then, I was a sun worshiper, so I made it worse. But I always had freckles. I tried to hide those too, because, the 90s, they were all about Cosmo perfection and blah, blah, blah. I'm actually really glad that those are are okay now, because look, I don't want to wear foundation. My skin is happier when I'm not wearing foundation. Back to the point though, people are born with certain little quirks about their body. Nobody is perfect. Legit, nobody's perfect. I'm gonna say it one more time and louder for the back. Nobody is perfect. And by that, I do mean no body is perfect, okay? But just because my birthmark happens to be in a particularly visible place that everybody gets to make comments on, that doesn't mean you get to make judgments on my character and my everything about my personhood just because I have a weird thing on my face. Do we completely judge Elon for his face looking like that? I mean, I'm sure he's had some plastic surgery and stuff along the way, but I've seen pictures of him when he was younger. His face kind of always looked like that. He was born that way, so I'm not really going to make fun of, his face looking like that. It is what it is. He was born with it. It's definitely not going to be the reason why I'm accusing him of, taking way more ketamine than his doctor is prescribing, and probably a little nose candy too. Really has nothing to do with the way his face looks. I bet nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. But my God, it is 2025. Can we please stop seeing someone with one spot on their face and immediately judging that they must be a meth smoker? Is that even how you do that? Sure, I don't fucking know. See, I've never touched it. But 5 comments every video. At least 5, 6 comments every video. I say 6 because I actually did get 6 earlier today, but usually it averages on 5. And I kind of hate the whole review process that TikTok does when it filters comments because, quite frankly, I just approve them so that I can go and block them. That's it. Just let the comment load so that way I don't have to go through this extra process and don't have to miss out on the fact that there are people who have access to my page who want to make immediate snap judgments on me because of a fucking birthmark. Birthmark. You can judge me for a lot of things in my life. You want to judge me for being a liberal? Fine, judge me for being a liberal. You want to judge me for blue hair? Well, I don't have it right now, but there's blue hair dye under my sink, so whatever. You want to judge me for a lot of things? I'm okay with it. But don't judge me for one spot on my face. I know that judgment is rarely beyond skin deep, but could you perhaps judge me for something more substantial than a bit of skin that could be strategically covered by a pea on a fork? Don't ask me how I know how. And 5 times a day. Because no, I didn't hear your brilliant comment the first several hundred times. Perhaps, oh great one, you should make it more clear. Look, I've been a lot of things in my life. I've been an alcoholic, 3 years sober on that one. Congrats to me. I've been a stoner, medical stoner. I've been a stoner for funsies. I'll admit to my demons. I don't need you trying to figure them out in a TikTok comment. It's just so frustrating when people are so rude. I don't want to think about this anymore. Peace out, my lovelies.